Today, we're talking to a woman you definitely don't want to mess with because, to quote her Twitter bio, she kicks people in the head for a living. She knows Taekwondo. It's double Olympic and reigning world champion, Jade Jones. Jade, thank you for talking to us. How are you doing today?
Yes, I'm really good, thank you. Back in the training centre, so, back where I love, back where I belong, so I'm happy.
Like you say, back in the training centre after a strange few months of sort of training in your garage. How has been the adjustment to getting back in the gym and having all the kit you need and the proper setup again?
Yeah, to be honest, at first it was a bit strange because, like I said, I thought, oh, we're going back to normal. It was kind of a sense of normality. And then when I turned up, it was so different to, how I could have ever imagined it. We turn up, the performance director, would check our temperatures, give us hand gel, he'd be in a mask. We had to get our bloods done straight away and all these kind of tests and checks. And then, it was a bit of a ghost town. So it was like only a couple in at a time and you were only allowed to train with the people that you live with. So it was all a bit eerie and a bit weird at first, but slowly now, I'm getting more used to it and, slowly getting a bit more back to normal.
In terms of training, how is it being back in the gym? When you've got that coach there sort of riding you, pushing you, has it been, no matter how much you've done, is it a case of that no matter what you did beforehand, you're still reaching new levels now you're back in the gym?
We thought, we were in good shape, we hadn't lost it. But when we come back into the national centre and, it's just a different level and a different pace, we were still struggling. And to be honest, the coach was quite impressed, how good of shape we was in, because I think he thought we were just doing the videos for Instagram, but we was actually training.
Now, let's talk about the Olympic postponement, because you are attempting to do something that's never been done before in Taekwondo, and that's win a third gold when it comes to Tokyo, having won in Rio and in London. How are you feeling about your prospects of doing that? And what were the emotions and how are you feeling about the Games being back to a year away?
At first, it was the not knowing that was killing me because, I was struggling with a little injury and then I was still trying to push on because obviously the Olympics was coming up. So, and then deep down thinking, God, is it even going to happen? Is it cancelled? So when we found out, right, it's postponed, I think it was like relief that we knew so we could kind of step off the pace a little bit, and also the fact that it wasn't getting cancelled, it was just postponed. Where I think now is the hard time, which I didn't think it would be. We're back in the gym and it's a month to go to the Olympics. I mean, I was supposed to be making history in a month's time. So it's just a bit like we're training, we're doing all the hard work, but kind of what for at the minute. But I think we just got to keep remembering, we've got a year now till the Games, and we just got to start the journey again, really, and think, plan it all out, start again, and how will I be the very best me come next year?
Do you know when you'll be back competing? Have you got a date when you will be back on the mat and competition can start again?
Yeah, so they've said to us the first competition will be in November and it's going to be the Grand Prix final. And then also the main aim is, because the European qualifiers still haven't been, so some people are still not qualified, so that's another main aim. But then again, there's hearsay that, that's not going to happen this year. So it's kind of who knows. So we're just taking each day by day, trying to, get in good shape and then we'll be ready to fight whenever, really.
Have you found it mentally challenging at all? Because for an athlete and an individual athlete, you're so structured around, exactly what events you're going to be competing at and what you're building towards, not just every year, but in a 4-year cycle. Have you struggled at all adapting to this and not quite knowing? So you might be competing in November, there might be European Championships here, when or wherever.
Yeah, to be honest, at first I didn't really think it would affect me. I thought, I was quite strong mentally, but now looking back, I think, it did and has affected me mentally. Because I think, like you said, being an athlete, your whole life evolves around that one goal, and you know exactly when it is, and you've got to eat right, you've got to sleep right, you've got to do this amount of training, and your whole life is like the whole day, the whole year is gearing to that one moment. So when there's no moment at the end, you didn't know when the next thing was going to be. It kind of felt like I don't know, like how retiring would feel. I just didn't really have a goal. Didn't know. Do you know what I mean? Just waking up to watch films and stuff like that. So yeah, it definitely was hard. So now there is a goal at the end of it. It's a lot easier, but still, like you said, do you know what I mean? You don't know when the next competition is.
Yeah, hard to stay motivated, but when you've got Tokyo in your sights still, I suppose it helps. You haven't ruled out 2024 with Tokyo being pushed back. Has that changed anything, or are you still thinking get the third next year and then go for a fourth?
Well, at the minute, it's like, God, I've got a whole of a year to slog it out, to train and to obviously push the boundaries, because, you know, being an athlete, it is so tough, and you do have to sacrifice a lot. And I've always, you know, just gone one competition at a time so I can put me all into it and kind of not think what's going to happen after. But, you know, now it's only 3 years after the next one. Who knows? I don't know.
What is it that keeps you motivated? Is it doing the best you can do, or is it making history like you have done and are aiming to continue to do?
Yeah, I always say, like, it's making history, and, you know, I do want to leave a legacy and do something no one's ever done, because I believe I can, do you know what I mean? So I don't want to waste that chance. But also as well, it's just, I think I'm just obsessed with winning. Like, winning the Olympics is, you know, the best feeling in the world, and all that training, all that graft to be standing on the top of the podium, and, you know, you literally just feel like the best in the world. So I think I'm addicted to that feeling, and I just want to keep getting that feeling for as long as possible.
Do you know what? Just thinking about that, what it must feel like standing up there. Most of us can't even dream of it. You've done it twice, and, you know, world
Yeah.
championships as well. It's just incredible. And one thing I really want to ask you about that I find really quite intriguing about not just your sport, but how you've progressed in your sport, is that you haven't changed weight class since you started as a full-time athlete in Taekwondo, which is remarkable really for any athlete, because our bodies change so much as we get older. But for a woman especially as well, going from, you know, teenager through your mid-20s, has that been a struggle, or is it something that comes quite naturally to you? Because I know a lot of female athletes can often struggle with body image, and when you do a sport that comes down to your weight, I'm intrigued to know how you've managed that and how you remain confident, if that's the case.
Yeah, so it has got harder and harder, like you said. You know, being 17 years old and being 57 kilos is okay, whereas now, you know, I'm a 27-year-old woman and I've still got to make that same weight category, and over time I've put on muscle, and, you know, naturally you put on a bit of fat as well. And so it definitely has got harder, and mentally harder, if anything, because when I was a kid I could kind of eat whatever I wanted, whereas now, you know, I have to be really strict, and I have to lose, I think it's about 6 kilos to make that weight now. So I kind of sit at 63, and then I have to obviously lose 6 kilos. So it is tough, but I just see it as part of the sacrifice, you know, to win that gold medal and to get that. It's just like what I have to do, do you know what I mean? And yet, you know, even with body image, it is hard, because, like I said, women are supposed to be curvy and, you know, look like a woman. Whereas sometimes when I have made weight, I'm very lean. There's not much on me. But, you know, I just kind of embrace it and think, you know, this is what makes me who I am. And I'm the Olympic champion because I do that and because I look like that. So just kind of embrace it.
And that's as good a reason as any, isn't it?
Yeah.
Got to lose some weight to be Olympic champion. Jade, just finally, I know you've been keeping really busy during this strange time. Obviously, you're back in your training routine now that you're back in the gym. We've seen on Instagram recently your knee is back in a knee brace. I know you had a bit of a knee ligament issue earlier this year. In a way, are you quite relieved that we're not a month out from the games, if that's still bothering you?
Yeah, so that's the thing. I'm kind of seeing it as, you know, maybe someone was watching over me or something. And like I said, I've never had an injury, you know, in all my life. I've literally been robust and not had any injuries. So to get the niggle, you know, it would have been this close to the games. But it was kind of because of the lockdown why I'm still injured, because obviously there's no physios, no nutritionists, nobody to help us. And me being me, I was just kept kicking and kicking, and I kind of still had a tear, and I just thought, I'm just still going to train, it'll be fine. And whereas I've got back now and it's still not fixed and it's still aggravating me. So yeah, you know, definitely seeing it as a blessing in disguise. So I can take the time now to get healed up properly and, like I said, be, you know, stronger and better than ever.